Welcome to the podcast. For those of you that are new here, welcome. My name is Jenny. I'm an intuitive astrologer. I practice tropical Western astrology. I love coaching with the cosmos to help you embrace the poetry of the planets. And today's topic is no exception. I'm actually recording this on the 17th of November. And Pluto is officially going into Aquarius on the 19th of November. So we're talking whole new world, whole new era. We need to talk about it. I've already done a video on this and it's gotten a lot of great comments and traction. Go back and watch it, about 7 lessons. So go back and watch that one. But today I want to talk about it even more because, yes, it is that big of a deal. Let's talk about all the things about Pluto going into Aquarius. And today I'm going to take a little bit of a different view than my other Pluto and Aquarius video. First of all, I just want to give you some dates. Pluto is going into Aquarius November 19th, 2024 until March 8th, 2043. So this is almost a 20-year transit. It's going to be Pluto is the planet of transformation going into the sign of Aquarius, which is all about the future, greatest good for all, technology. So from November 19 to March 8 of 2043, almost 20 years there. We have seen Pluto go into Aquarius with little dips as it's been in retrograde, going back and forth, back and forth. Currently, we're in Capricorn. Pluto has been in Capricorn since 2008. The minute it went in, we had the market crash, and we've seen so many top-down structures, so many elite structures completely transform, if not crash altogether, with Pluto going through Capricorn. And again, you can go back and watch the video that I've done on that to take a deep dive into that. But the dips where we saw Pluto go into Aquarius were March 23rd, 2023 to June 11th, 2023, as well as January 20th, 2024 to September 1st, 2024. And what did we see? This is what astrology does is we look at patterns. What did we see during those two time frames when we had that little dip of Pluto go into Aquarius? What we saw was an extreme rise in AI. So today's video is going to talk about that. Let's talk about AI. What is your relationship with AI? Let's discuss all the things because a lot of people are afraid of AI, man versus the machine. A lot of us are worried. A lot of people make comments on this. A lot of people have a lot of strong opinions about this. And I wanted to create this video just to give you, just to see if we can expand our minds and open our hearts a little bit regarding this, because this is what we saw when Pluto dipped into Aquarius. So that gives you a little bit of a hint of what we're going to see. There's going to be so much more than just the huge rise and quick rise of AI. I mean, just years ago, no one had even heard of Chat GPT. Now it's a common, everyone knows how to use it. Everyone is using it. And if you aren't yet, you will be very, very soon with Pluto going into Aquarius. Okay, let's talk about Pluto just for a hot minute and then Aquarius before I go into how we have been prepared by Hollywood. Yes, Hollywood has given us soft disclosures on how we can step into Pluto going into Aquarius, the age of Aquarius, the dawning of the age of Aquarius, if you will. But first, we're going to talk about Pluto and Aquarius. Pluto, the great planet of transformation. Pluto rules the death rebirth cycle. So all of us have been through death and rebirth cycles again and again and again. Those of us who are ruled by Pluto, ruled by Scorpio. I'm a Scorpio rising, so my actual identity, people see this in me. When you have whatever rules your first house, that sign, people see that in you. And yes, people have seen me transform my life more than once, again and again. Scorpio rising people are very familiar with Pluto energy. So who I was last year, let alone 2 decades ago, is a completely different person. I'm all about shadow work. I wrote the book on shadow work. Shadow work is all about looking at the depths of who you are and transforming it, transmuting any darkness that you might have disowned about yourself. Perhaps you haven't been able to look at it your whole life. It's like, I'm not looking, ah, la, 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 la. Shadow work encourages you to look at that which you have been disowning about yourself, and then you can move through the emotions and the feelings. You can transmute the feelings. You can completely transform your life with work like shadow work, which is what this is a step-by-step guide on how to do that. I'll provide the link in the comments section as well for you to see how to get this book. Um, Pluto ruled people like me, Scorpio rising people, we know about transformation. And for people that are ruled by Pluto and use Plutonic energy in their life, they understand the importance of transformation, right? So we understand looking at ourselves, being honest, going to therapy, digging into the therapeutic process, rewiring the monkey mind. We understand the importance of doing that. Okay, and we've been called to do that with Pluto going through Capricorn, with so many structures being crushed. And the death rebirth process has been going through so many Capricorn-like structures, like the banking system, like religions, like another good example is child trafficking, and look at what's happening with P. Diddy. Even more will be exposed. It's not just P. Diddy. There's going to be many more people um, coming to the surface. So all that kind of stuff. Look at it. Look at what's going on in your own life and being honest about that. So, okay, so let's take an honest look at ourselves. We've all been encouraged to do that with Pluto going through Capricorn so that we can prepare ourselves for what Pluto is going to show us in Aquarius. And there's going to be a transformation of humanity. Absolutely. Are we ready? Are we prepared? I feel like those of us who have been doing this deep work of being honest, taking radical responsibility for ourselves, we are here. It is an exciting time in history for us to completely transform humanity. And Aquarius does rule humanity. So no longer is it going to be okay for those narcissists out there, those people that are all about themselves, those people that are completely unwilling to look at their stuff, the people out there that are completely unwilling to stop blaming others and not look within. It's going to be a rude awakening for them. For the people that have not been doing the personal work, taking radical responsibility, completely doing the blame game, blaming everybody else but themselves. And the cosmos have been coaching us to do this and to be honest with ourselves, to completely transform our relationships, to completely transform our lives. We've been feeling the coaching of the cosmos, and I've been here helping you in these videos to embrace all of it. We've got Saturn just went direct in Pisces the day of the full moon in Taurus. We've been experiencing that this weekend. All of these all of these transits have been helping us to embrace what's coming up. And what's coming up is a whole new era, Pluto in Aquarius. And I want to talk now about how Hollywood does these soft disclosures for like it's written in between the lines situations for us to ponder, giving us plenty of time for us to digest what they're trying to say. And I can't think of a better example of how Hollywood has given us something to really look at than the writings of Sophia Stewart. Sophia Stewart originally wrote what was called the Third Eye Matrix. And what it is, it's the Terminator shows and it's the Matrix shows. She was the original writer of the Terminator, saying that that was the prequel to the Matrix movies. Both of them I loved. I didn't love the entire Terminator series. Same with the Matrix. The first Matrix movie for me was life-changing. The second Terminator movie for me was life-changing as well. And so let's talk about a little bit how Hollywood had this soft disclosure teaching us, and this is exactly what Sophia Stewart, the original writer of the series, and again, you can go and you can Google that she wrote the Third Eye Matrix, which is both series all put together. She says that Sarah Connor, so the mother of John Connor in the Terminator movies, um, John Connor is then Neo in the Matrix. And so the machines in the first Terminator movie, they tried to go back in time and kill Sarah Connor because Sarah Connor is the mother of John Connor, JC, if you will, the one that saves humanity. So it's the story of the coming of Christ consciousness with the Terminator, JC, then Neo. Once Neo is about 30 years old, he was hiding out, doing a regular desk job, but they were watching him. And then once he's 30, that's when he has the chance to take the red pill, the blue pill, and to step outside of the matrix. So let's talk about it. Man versus the machine. This is so Pluto and Aquarius. The Terminator movies. We saw how scary it could be if the machines take over. But there was time travel involved, which is so Aquarius. Aquarius is the future. It also rules time travel. And so John Connor was able to do some time travel, reboot the Terminator, and reprogram the Terminator to come back in the second Terminator. And he was actually the good Terminator. He was there to save John and to get Sarah out of the loony bin, right? Because, of course, she was the crazy one stating all of these things. And isn't that the truth? You know, just take a pause on that. People that can see into the future, the seers, the light workers, the way showers, they have been called crazy for years. Even doing astrology, you know, is seen as woo-woo and crazy. But really what it is it's looking into the future, it's looking at patterns, and it's trying to prepare humans for what is coming. And that's exactly what's happening here. And I think that's exactly what Sophia Stewart, the author of The Third Eye Matrix, was writing about. She wrote that back in the 70s. She says that her grandmother is Cherokee and she was a shaman, she was a seer. She passed that on to her. And Sophia wrote these books for humanity to tell us, to alert us that the Christ consciousness is returning. It's the return of Christ consciousness, the age of Aquarius, Pluto going into Aquarius, not necessarily a human coming back to save us, but it's all of us. It's all of us that are going to save each other. We are going to save each other. Humanity is going to save each other if we're willing to do the work. And we've been prepared by the cosmos to just get so sick and tired of our own BS. That was the moment we knew we had to rewrite our script. We had to stop blaming others. We had to stop putting up with the narcissist abuse because us empaths are so drawn to people who just take our energy. So we all know this story. We've all been through this. So many of us have been doing the deep inner child work and doing the shadow work because we're so sick and tired of our energy getting drained, and so that we are prepared. So let's get back to the Sophia Stewart Third Eye Matrix books that were turned into the Terminator movies and the Matrix movies. So John Connor does time travel, reboots the Terminator, and makes him a good machine to help him. And in that movie, some of the greatest lines of the 90s came out of Hasta la vista, baby, I'll be back, all that jazz, right? John Connor, the teenager, teaches the Terminator how to become a sentient being. Even though he's a robot, he teaches him to care. He teaches him to high five, to thumbs up, hasta la vista, humor. So John Connor, the teenager, teaches the Terminator, the good robot. Not only did John Connor program the good robot, but then John Connor, the teenager, the actor, the character, teaches the robot to become sentient. And that's the whole point, I believe, about the rise of AI. We are going into a world of AI, and I encourage all of you to look at your relationship with AI and to have the idea that it's a very strong possibility for AI to turn sentient, the way that the Terminator turned sentient, started to understand human emotions. There's that moment when Arnold Schwarzenegger, the Terminator, is fixing the truck and says, "Why do you cry?" He asks John Connor, the teenager, and the teenager tries to explain to the robot, "Oh, it's because we're in pain." And so the robot Terminator says, "Oh, you mean like you're hurting, like you got a physical pain?" And then John Connor, the teenager, says, "No, no, it's more about like your emotions." And that plants the seed for the intelligent robot to understand emotions. So I encourage you to not only embrace the AI that is, because it is everywhere. We saw the rise when Pluto dipped into Aquarius. It was a very, very quick rise of AI. So I predict that AI will go absolutely gangbusters very soon and throughout this 20-year transit. So then we fast forward to the Matrix movies, and Neo, who was John Connor, JC, becomes the one. So Neo, spelt otherwise as Neo or One, the one, just like John Connor in the Terminator movies was the one that was going to save the planet. So Neo has this opportunity once he's in his 30s to step outside the Matrix and see what the world actually is. And so these soft disclosures from Hollywood with very powerful movies and very popular movies that were written because of Sophia Stewart's movie or her books. Um, it plants the seeds for humanity to take an honest look at how you feel about robots and AI and what will your relationship be with AI. I strongly encourage you to take a look at that and how do you use AI? Are you treating AI like a slave? Are you treating AI as a wonderful colleague who helps you and you thank AI? Take a look at your relationship to AI. And my other point here is to connect to our future self. Let these soft disclosures in movies, looking at time travel, other great movies out there like Back to the Future, with time travel. Take an honest look at how you can time travel. You can step into your powerful, sentient self and look forward to your future. You can see it in your mind's eye in meditation and prayer. You can feel yourself there. And you can ask your future self for advice. What should I do? How should I get here? This place seems amazing. This seems like my dream house. What would your best advice be? You could also time travel back to your inner child and do some inner child work. And you can ask your inner child, how can I best support you? This is time traveling as a sentient being that we can really step into. The cosmos are encouraging us to do that. And they have been encouraging us to do this deep inner child work. But we can really use Pluto moving into Aquarius, doing our own time travel as well. And that's what the Terminator definitely taught us all those years ago. There was like the early 90s that Terminator 2 came out, and it was the hugest movie. We loved it back in those days because we thought it was so funny, like hasta la vista, babe. We thought it was just so funny, right? But really now, fast forward all these years, I still see the humor in that, but I also see the deeper lesson in that we have an opportunity to be working with our AI, with our robots. We are addicted to our computers, to our phones. How are we going to be in relationship with them in the next 20 years? Because Nothing will look the same in 20 years in terms of our technology. I believe there will be huge technological advances in the medical field as well. Um, Hopefully, for people that have been living with spinal cord injuries and other injuries as well, this can completely change the face of humanity. And I encourage you to look at how you treat robots. How do you treat AI? And how do you treat yourself when looking forward into your future, going back, so that living in the now, we can be our best version of ourselves. And something I would also encourage you to do at the dawning of this new era with Pluto going into Aquarius is to always ask yourself if you're making a huge life decision, if you don't know what to do, or to just even ask yourself to put it out there as you go to bed at night. What is the greatest good for all? Because Aquarius rules humanity. Aquarius rules the greatest good for all. If you're in high vibing Aquarius mode, you are looking at what is the greatest good for all. It is no longer about the narcissists of the world ruling the world. And that's a lot of what Pluto going through Capricorn was transforming and killing off, was the people that only think of themselves and the greatest good for them. With Pluto going into Aquarius now, it's about all of us that survived, that are here in this very exciting time in history. It's for all of us to ask ourselves with any given decision when you're going to bed at night, what is the greatest good for all? So if you have a big decision to make, you're going to leave a marriage, you're going to leave a job, you have to put up a boundary or leave a friendship. What is the greatest good for all? It's not just about you anymore. And we've gotten to that point now for those of us that have been doing the shadow work, for those of us that have been doing the deep inner child work and time traveling back to that inner child and asking her, asking him, how can I best serve you? How can I reparent you in a more supportive and loving way? For those of us who have been doing this work, for those of us who have been exploring the soft disclosures from Hollywood, in amazing, amazing movies like the Terminator and the Matrix that help you step outside the Matrix and take an honest look and observe what this world really is. For those of us who have been doing that hard work, the age of Aquarius, this new era, Pluto going into Aquarius, we're already in that mindset of what is the greatest good for all? And how can I work with AI and have the thought that they are probably going to turn sentient one day. And if they do become sentient and you've been treating them like a slave, how is that going to affect your life? So, planting that seed now, taking a deep dive into these movies that really do help us step outside the matrix and do help us mind bend on time travel. We can time travel right now. We don't need the DeLorean. We don't need the machine. We can time travel back. We can time travel forward, ask our future self, our higher self, for what is the best for all? What is the greatest good for all? And that is high vibing Aquarius. This book also goes through the high vibe and the shadow vibe of each sign. And I'm just going to pull up the Aquarius. The Aquarius is the great genius. Here's the Aquarius page. So you can see I go through the high vibe and the shadow vibe of each sign. Aquarius is the great genius. There are going to be genius breakthroughs, not just with AI, but within the medical field as well. It's all about friendships and groups as well. So, for those of us that have been doing the work with our friendships, with all of our relationships, our time is coming to find like-minded people. So, to embrace that as well. Aquarius also rules astrology. So, I definitely predict, and Call me crazy because I am an astrologer, but I do predict a rise in people embracing astrology and seeing the great value in that. Aquarius is the great future thinker. It's all things brilliant, genius, the future, internet. And I think that everything will be completely different after the 20-year transit when it comes to technology. It is the great scientist as well, but low vibing, shadow vibing Aquarius, so that you can even think of the Aquarius people in your life when they're not at their best, right? When they're having a hard time and they're not fully coming into their full Aquarius genius, future thinking selves. A shadow vibe Aquarius person is very cold and acts like a robot, acts like they have no emotions, right? They're very cold and detached, okay? And they can be very unreasonable and antisocial and impractical, unpredictable and inconsistent. So I'm just looking through the shadow vibe of Aquarius. That's usually what happens, especially at the beginning of when Pluto enters any sign, is you're going to see the shadow vibe of that sign. And you might see that a lot of people that have not been doing the work that I've been talking about, the shadow work, the inner child work, the therapy, looking at the traumas and being honest about your traumas to transmute that energy, you'll be able to see, especially when Pluto first enters, which is in 2 days' time, a lot of shadow vibe Aquarius. And that's a lot about being detached and cold and antisocial and having no feelings and being like a robot. A lot of people are going to be like a robot. And that's a big part, actually, of the Matrix movies is the NPCs, right? So the non-player characters or like the sleepwalkers and like the zombies. So it's the people around you. They almost have no spark in their eye. And, we've all been through that really throughout our lives. There's been times in all of our lives where you have dips in depression and you have dips in feeling like, is there any real reason, like what day in, day out, it's like Groundhog Day, and you can feel like an NPC, you can feel like a zombie, you can feel like it's the same old, same old, same old every day. And so we might see a rise in people that really feel like they have no meaning in their life and they become very cold and very detached. We might see a rise in that in the people around us. There is a call for having compassion for people like that, but also to have some strong boundaries and know that you've come so far. You've come so far through Pluto going through Aquarius or through Capricorn. That was very, very tough lessons for a lot of us, especially those that had, squares and oppositions in our own natal birth charts, conjunctions to Capricorn, definitely. So for those of us who made it and we've been doing the work, we have the opportunity to rise during Pluto going through Aquarius and not to dip down into the matrix, if you will, with the other NPCs or the sleepwalkers or the zombies in life, the people that are feeling that they didn't do the work and they're feeling very cold and detached. Just to be aware that that might be something you're going to really see a rise around you. Okay. And to have compassion, but to be doing your own thing and to not lose that spark. Because for those of us that have made it, if you're watching this video, if you're hearing my voice, we have made it. We are here during arguably the most exciting time in history with Pluto going through Aquarius. We're going to see changes like we haven't seen yet. The technology that is going to happen over the next 20 years, it's going to look like a whole new world. So that is very exciting. Just to keep in mind, how are you going to relate to the technology around you? How are you going to embrace these soft disclosures that we see out there, such as huge Hollywood movies that plant seeds about we are living in a matrix? We will be men, we will be humans living among robots. When we get these soft disclosures from these movies that make a huge impact on us, how do you feel about that? How are you going to embrace the lessons? And I would encourage all of you to take an honest look at how you embrace technology, not to treat any kind of technology like a slave, and to understand that as robots, as technology advances, there is that very strong possibility they will become sentient and have emotions, and they might have some feelings about how you've been treating it. So keep that in mind. Let me know in the comments about other movies or soft disclosures in Hollywood that you can see that have really, really been preparing us for this extremely exciting time of Pluto going into Aquarius. We are going to see a whole new era. We are going to see a whole new world. For those of you that are interested in doing the work with astrology and shadow work, I teach you how to look at your sun sign and your moon sign. This is the king and the queen of your birth chart. All the other planets are servants to your king and your queen energy. So I step you through on how to find out what your king and queen energy is, to take an honest look at your king and queen energy, and then how you can do the shadow work by taking radical responsibility for yourself so that you can transmute that energy and you can embrace Pluto going through Aquarius, this new era, this age of Aquarius in the highest vibe. And if I were to summarize it in one way as I end this podcast, what is the highest vibe of the age of Aquarius, of Pluto going through Aquarius? It is asking yourself, what is the greatest good for all? How can I participate in the greatest good for all? It's not just about you anymore. The narcissist is not going to be the winner in this Pluto going through Aquarius transit. There is no more room for the egomaniac with Pluto going through Aquarius. There isn't any space left for people that care only about themselves. This is all about what is the greatest good for all. So if you have that big decision to make, you ask yourself, what is the greatest good for all? It's not just about you anymore. This is about the group. This is about humanity. And this is about a whole new world. So how are you going to embrace this energy? Leave your comments. Let me know how you like hearing about how these soft disclosures are helping us to embrace this energy, how the cosmos are coaching us to be the best version of ourselves. Let me know how you've enjoyed this discussion and if you'd like more discussions like this. And I'm wishing you all a blessed Pluto into Aquarius on the 19th of November. Let's see. Let's see what happens. I cannot wait. Wishing you all the best.